I'm here today with my friend Howie Harkema, and Howie's been a longtime activist in the McMinnville community, one of my heroes. Howie, can you tell me how long you've been doing this kind of work and how it started for you?
Well, I moved to McMinnville in 2007, and prior to that I was in management for a major corporation, and 26 years, and got burned out on the corporate thing and wanted a calling. And when I moved to McMinnville, I got a job at St. Barnabas Episcopal Church as the operations manager of their soup kitchen, which introduced me to the homeless population, those in poverty, and the underserved of Yamhill County. So I've been doing this now for 10 years. It's been challenging, to say the least, but I've gotten really involved and entrenched in a lot of nonprofits and other important factors that are happening in Yamhill County. So my involvement is mostly with the homeless population and trying to find out solutions that will answer the needs of the homeless community and the population.
In these 10 years that you've been doing the work, how have things changed? Have they gotten worse, better?
Well, back in 2006, the county decided that they wanted to be involved in coming up with some solutions for the homeless population and those in poverty. And they did what is called the End Homelessness 10-Year Plan. And I was kind of in on the ground floor on that. And we set up 40 action steps that we wanted to reach. And we've been able to reach 35 of those action steps to make things happen for our homeless population. So things have changed and gotten better as far as feeding the homeless population. You can get a breakfast or a dinner or a lunch 10 times in McMinnville in a 7-day period of a week. We also put together Community Connect, which is one day a year where we get together and the homeless and those in poverty and such can come and get their needs met all at one place. We also do the homeless count, which is done through YCAP. They have a department that kind of runs the homeless count. And we are able to derive the numbers of homelessness in Yamhill County every year and have been now since 2008. And our homeless population has increased over the years. We see more people on the streets, but the way that we can help them is to get the information out of the resources that can help them. And so we have a number of ways that we do that. So things are happening. They're not happening as fast. And I think a 10-year plan, you start all over at the end of the 10 years. So in 2018, we probably will have to start another End Homelessness 10-year plan to move forward from there.
And I know you're a great proponent of the Compass Center. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, the Compass Center stands for Community Outreach of McMinnville Positive Action Sharing Sanctuary. And there's 3 phases to the Compass Center. The first phase is to open the programs piece. The programs piece would entail having a day center for both warming and a cooling center. In the summer when it's too hot, in the winter when it's too cold, for our homeless population to be able to come and stay warm and hang out until the Gospel Rescue Mission opens its nightly emergency shelter, where they can stay. Up 35 people can stay at the Yamhill County Gospel Rescue Mission's new expansion of their emergency shelter. But we would also provide hygiene kits, clothing, umbrellas, all kinds of different necessities, such as watches. We take for granted that everybody knows what day it is and what time it is, but that isn't the truth on the street. They do need cell phones, they do need watches and a calendar to understand what day it is so they can make the appointments that they need, that they can get to their different appointments that they can get set up through the Compass Center program. The second piece is eventually to have on about 3 to 4 acres, a 20,000 square foot building that would encompass the program. The McMinnville Free Clinic would be then moved in there permanently. We would be open more than first and third Saturdays of the month. We would have 35 apartment rooms for individuals and 35 apartment rooms for families. We would have counselors there. We would have addiction recovery services, AA meetings, NA meetings, gambling anonymous meetings, etc., etc. We would also have an educational facility where they could get their GED for free if they don't have a high school diploma. They would get job training. They would be able to find a job through DHS by us linking into DHS's servers to be able to see what jobs are available, and they would get the education of how to write a cover letter, how to fill out an application, how to turn in that job resume. They would have a permanent address at the Compass Center, so their mail would be brought in. So if they need to re-up on their Social Security disability or their food stamps, etc., their mail would come to them rather than go to the post office and sit there and not get, they wouldn't even know that they needed to re-up. And so it gives them a way to get their mail. It would also give them a way to have a hand up and come back into community holistically. We would have mentoring services and counselors and case management, and the length of stay could be as little as 30 days, but it could be as much as 18 months to get their feet on the ground and get all of the background that they need to move back into community holistically.
Nice. And what do you need to make this project happen more?
Well, the first piece is of course, and the third piece is tiny house village around the Compass Center. So whether they're transitioning into the Compass Center and there's no rooms available, they would be able to stay in the tiny houses. And if it's somebody that has a background, a prison background or a jail time background that won't allow them to come into the Compass Center, then they could stay at those tiny house villages. So those are the three phases: the program piece, the Compass Center itself, and then the tiny house village. So what we need first is, I'm in talks with a local church to provide the programs piece at their church, which is only used on Sundays and Thursdays, and it's not used any other time. So we're in discussion about it being there, and we're hopeful for that. And it will cost very little money to run the project from there. It also gives us a couple years to show viability to the community for the larger aspect of buying land, of building a brand new facility, 20,000 square feet. And it's going to cost a lot of money. And then the tiny house village, we have ideas of getting business people and community members together to sponsor each of the tiny houses. Then they get a plaque on the front of the tiny house that says who sponsored it. What we're talking about monetarily for the larger contingent is about $3.1 million, which we'll raise through grants. State of Oregon has some money. The federal government has some money, and there's a number of foundations that we can apply to do the work. The hardest part is the operation cost per year, which most foundations will not sponsor. We have to raise that money locally. So that may mean a capital campaign to raise the money to do such.
Excellent. Well, I'm looking forward to continuing our conversation, but for today, I think we're going to call it good. Thank you very much for your time.
Well, thank you, Derek.